extraterrestrial creatures? Or confused human beings? Scientists have been researching whether life exists on other planets as well and are trying to find out whether an intelligent creature like man exists. They have chosen for this purpose the planet Moon since it is nearest to Earth. They sent manned and unmanned space shuttles. The findings are that the surface of Moon is barren and even a unicellular organism cannot exist because the elements necessary for the existence of life like water and air are not present. Mercury is nearest to the Earth at a distance of 58 million kilometers. Since the heat prevents even a liquid state of matter to be present, the question of life doesn't arise. Venus is 107 million kilometers from Sun and it is filled with carbon dioxide. There might be ice blocks. Radio waves cannot penetrate its surface. However, recent researches have revealed that the surface of Venus is plainer than that of Moon. Though there are no oceans, there are mountains on it. But the temperature is 480 degrees centigrade and straight away we can dismiss chances of life. Mars is 227 million kilometers from Sun. The surface is craggy and the stones are red in color. In certain respects it also has volcanoes, valleys and snow mountains. However, water doesn't exist. The temperature ranges between -138 degrees centigrade and 27 degrees centigrade and the average temperature is -40 degrees centigrade, which is prohibitive to life. Jupiter is 773 million kilometers from Sun. Next in reckoning are the planets Saturn, Uranus and Neptune, which are 1,418, 2,853, 4,469 million kilometers away respectively. Life needs water and plain land, and even planet like Pluto's condition is still uncertain when we come to satellites like the Moon, which are 33 in number. In them these are 6 satellites, which are 2,000 miles far. 5 among these are barren. We are left with Titan, which is one of the 10 satellites of Saturn. This is 58,400 miles away from Saturn with a diameter of 3,000 miles. When we examine these facts we find that no planet or satellite is habitable. I warn the confused human beings and scientists not to waste millions of dollars. Since I am a believer in Bible, it is my duty to warn my brethren. These people seem to run after mirages. The same money could be used to feed the underprivileged millions. There doesn't seem to be a method in their madness, and I shall describe to what extent their madness has taken them. This is a combined effort. Phoebus is the biggest moon of Mars. It is 5,830 miles from Mars and is potato-shaped. Scientists believe that Mars has attracted a star-shaped body in the cosmos. Scientists believe that the distance between the two would get reduced and Phoebus in future might fall on Mars as debris. Russians are not the only one who has undertaken these explorations on Phoebus, but 12 nations like Austria, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East and West Germany helped Russia in instrumentation while American experts have advised them. Russia desired that America take part in exploration of Phoebus, but if declined because it would have set back America by $100 billion, equivalent to 13,000 crores of rupees. But still Americans are afraid that Russians might be the first to step on Mars. Ronald Reagan, then President of America, allocated $100 million in view of this, but this amount will be nowhere sufficient but only for preliminary purposes. Regarding future experiments, Mars exploration continuous. America sent in 1992 Mars Observer. It is supposed to carry and facilitate landing of vehicles, sending balloons to study the atmosphere. America plans to provide transportation on Mars as a result of the rover experiments. Russia plans to establish 2 space stations. All these efforts might lead in making man land on Mars by 2007. The question is, will that man be American or Russian? The wealthy nations are vying with each other and are lavishly spending. One can see the injustice in the move of these nations, which cannot feed even one of their nations. James chapter 4 verses 1 and 2. What causes fights and quarrels among you? Don't they come from your desires that battle within you? You want something but don't get it. You kill and covet, but you cannot have what you want. You quarrel and fight. You do not have, because you do not ask God. Tributes must be paid to man's effort to befriend the extraterrestrials and get their belongings. Used to exploitation, humanity seems to seek greener pastures. They have gone a step ahead. Telescope to detect the extraterrestrial life. The question has been engaging the mind of man for a long time. The Institute of Radio Astronomy in Argentina has entered this field. Argentina expects a radio telescope from Planetary Society of California, which gave them a radio receiver. Director Paul will be fully occupied if the telescope is built. This telescope will explore the possibility of extraterrestrial. This shall be the first research project aided by radio telescope in the Southern Hemisphere. Some loot their own countries and other countries, while many others want to loot even planets. The common population are deprived and to ward off a rebellion. This is a guise, which I shall describe here under. Men is led by delusions. Aliens have invaded the United States. No longer confined to science fiction and tabloids, aliens appear in the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal, at candy counters, in chocolate-covered flying saucers and as Martian melon-flavored lollipops, and on the internet. Aliens are at the center of a faculty battle at Harvard. They have been used to market AT&T cellular phones, Milky Way candy bars, and Kodak film, Diet Coke, stovetop stuffing, skateboard accessories, and abduction insurance. A Gallup poll says that 27% of Americans believe space aliens have visited Earth. A Time, CNN poll says 80% of their respondents believe the US government is covering up its knowledge of the existence of aliens. 65% believe a UFO crashed in Roswell in 1947. The above statements are made by many Americans completely drowned in a stage of delusion, stating the sightings of the UFOs, especially the Roswell incident, caused greater commotion in Americans regarding the crash of the UFO. The commotion was big when famous Apollo astronaut Edward Ed Mitchell on April 19, 1996 on the American television show NBC Dateline revealed that the US government has covered up the reality of extraterrestrial visitors all along. Mitchell was one of the planned crew members of the difficult Apollo 13 mission. Ed Mitchell lived in Roswell in July 1947 at the time when the legendary UFO crash is supposed to have happened. He says that he remembers it vague. He still remembers the front pages of the papers and all the commotion, which soon faded, and no one thought about it anymore. Robert Goddard also lived in Roswell at the time. Mitchell is convinced that the incident really occurred, and he says that he has inside information from friends in high places and agencies that says that Belgium, Soviet and America has had direct contact and exchange with extraterrestrial beings since the 60s. The American newspapers have given a statement regarding the UFO crash in Roswell, which is not believed by the Americans but are drowned in delusion by denying the said fact. American newspapers dated July 8, 1947, headlines that mentioned the crashed wreckage of a saucer found in New Mexico. In 1947, flying saucer didn't yet mean alien-powered craft, but it was still strange, still unexplained. By July 9, though, the story was explained, or covered up. The military announced that it was just a big mistake, only a weather balloon. The wreckage was disposed of and the case closed. The truth was that the wreckage was part of an array of high-altitude balloons used to spy on the Soviet Union. The project involved secret, classified research carried out under the codename Mogul. The 1997 report responds to criticism that the Mogul explanation could not account for witness observations of alien bodies. Apparently, throughout the 1950s, the Air Force used anthropomorphic dummies in high-altitude parachute tests. The report suggests that Roswell witnesses may have linked together memories of the recovery of the material from Mogul balloons with memories of dummy recoveries. A spokesthing for Mars Air Force denounced as false rumors that an alien spacecraft crashed in the desert, outside of Ares Vallis on Friday. Appearing at a press conference today, it was stated that the object was, in fact, a harmless high-altitude weather balloon, not an alien spacecraft. Andra Bhumi, Daily Journal, 12th October 1989 says, ETs in Russian city Moscow, October 11. We read of ETs often in the papers. The Russian scientists have confirmed and started experimenting because certain ETs landed on a Russian town. It is Voronezh, which is 300 kilometers from Moscow. TASS announced on Monday that investigations are on the witnesses. Scientists have confirmed UFOs, unidentified flying objects. TASS reported that the ETs landed in a part and left their footprints. The ETs were supposed to be very tall and circled Voronezh 3 times. People were terrified. Shining global in shape, and from it came 3 ETs and a robot. The minimum height was 3 meters, but their heads were small. They took few paces and again went into the UFO and then it flew off. Scientists confirmed the news, by a method called biolocation by Generic Seelnoff, head of Geophysical Laboratory of Voronezh. He did not explain further. Anadolu Daily Journal, 22nd of October, 1989, ETs cited by Russians. The Russian paper Pravda cited its correspondent Pavel Mukurtharov as having spoken to 3 ETs who landed on the Ural Mountains near Perm City on 30 July. These ETs came from an orange-shaped sphere. On inquiry they revealed that they were from Mars. The correspondent reported that the answers to his questions were on LCD while he forgot to mention a language of LCDs. The ETs have 3 eyes and 4 ears. Many Soviet children reported sighting of an UFO in Voronezh in Ukraine. The superpowers are like the politicians who make a foreign hand responsible for every riot. Probably the UFOs are their creation. These strange creatures are a myth, and a country like Russia should be ashamed. It is an insult to humanity. Even the slightest airspace violation is not tolerated, and it focuses on how a UFO could land on their territory. One can see the truth in it. Some exploit in the name of God while others in the name of progress. Dear brothers, till now you have experienced the foolishness of the modern world. Let us not waste time to enter into the knowledge of God. Acts chapter 17 verses 24 to 29. The God who made the world and everything in it is the Lord of heaven and earth, and does not live in temples built by hands. And he is not served by human hands, as if he needed anything, because he himself gives all men life and breath and everything else. From one man, not the monkey, he made every nation of men, that they should inhabit the whole earth, not the other planets, and he determined the times set for them and the exact places where they should live. God did this so that men would seek him and perhaps reach out for him and find him, though he is not far from each one of us. For in him we live and move and have our being. As some of your own poets have said, we are his offspring. Therefore, since we are God's offspring, we should not think that the divine being is like gold or silver or stone, an image made by man's design and skill. Job chapter 26 verse 7. He spreads out the northern skies over empty space. He suspends the earth over nothing. Isaiah chapter 45 verse 18. For this is what the Lord says, He who created the heavens, He is God, He who fashioned and made the earth, He founded it. He did not create it to be empty, but formed it to be inhabited. He says, I am the Lord, and there is no other. Psalms chapter 115 verse 16. The highest heavens belong to the Lord, but the earth he has given to man. Genesis chapter 1 24 to 26 and 28. God said, Let the land produce living creatures according to their kinds, livestock, creatures that move along the ground, and wild animals, each according to its kind. And it was so. God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kinds, and all the creatures that move along the ground according to their kinds. And God saw that it was good. Then God said, Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. God blessed them and said to them, Be fruitful and increase in number, fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air and over every living creature that moves on the ground. Job chapter 20 verse 5 says that the mirth of the wicked is brief, the joy of the godless lasts but a moment. Job chapter 37 verses 12 and 13 says at his direction they swirl around over the face of the whole earth to do whatever he commands them. He brings the clouds to punish men, or to water his earth and show his love. Mother cradles her baby to give him a peaceful sleep and the child looks at the mother forgetting the rest. Behind the three hands of the clock lies the machine. Every visible and invisible substance has a purpose. It is a clockwork precision. Let it not be forgotten that we are the sons of God and there is a purpose behind life. God is performing all these deeds without rest only for the sake of man. But man forgot him busy in his carnal life. Hebrews chapter 11 verse 3 says by faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. Romans chapter 4 verse 17 as it is written, I have made you a father of many nations. He is our Father in the sight of God, in whom he believed the God who gives life to the dead and calls things that are not as though they were. God's wrath can be seen on the unfaithful. God was kind and revealed the purpose of man's existence. They know him to be God but failed to recognize him and failed to thank him. They claim to be men of wisdom while lacking in intellect. Romans chapter 1 verse 18 to 22 The wrath of God is being revealed from heaven against all the godlessness and wickedness of men who suppress the truth by their wickedness, since what may be known about God is plain to them, because God has made it plain to them. For since the creation of the world God's invisible qualities his eternal power and divine nature have been clearly seen, being understood from what has been made, so that men are without excuse. For although they knew God, they neither glorified him as God nor gave thanks to him, but their thinking became futile and their foolish hearts were darkened. Although they claimed to be wise, they became fools,